It does seem like this will address liquidity concerns, but it may not boost growth.
That's right. The measures announced yesterday by the finance minister are largely aimed at, easing the funding constraints of the NBFCs in the MSME sector and the housing finance companies, but does kind of revive growth on the ground. So what we would actually wait in subsequent announcements, hopefully today and tomorrow, should be a package that puts more money in the hands of the poor, the hands of the lowest income earners in the pyramid, which will actually help to improve demand. Because unless there is an improvement in demand conditions, any form of loan guarantee is likely to turn into NPAs eventually, and the MSMEs are again expected to fall and face funding crunch.
Now, what assumptions are you making about India's recovery? Some say that L-shaped recovery could be the base case scenario at some point.
Very frankly, a lot of assumptions in terms of what the shape of recovery is likely to take would depend upon what we hear from the finance minister in coming days. To be fair, India's announcements so far have been underwhelming compared to most other countries. But there are a couple of things in here. A large part of COVID cases in India are concentrated in about 5 states of India and largely in the urban centers. The rural economy has been fairly insulated. So it would not be fair to make an assumption that growth would probably see a very sharp fall and you would have a prolonged period of downturn, because a large part of the economy probably remains insulated. And secondly, the cases are highly concentrated in India, unlike most other countries. And it is unlikely that probably on 17th of May, when we enter the 4th phase of lockdown, there could be much larger relaxations and the confinement zones could be much smaller rather than a geographic area of a district. So I would right now hold my views that we could see a very flattish kind of a U-shaped recovery. But as I mentioned, a lot would depend upon what we hear from the finance minister in terms of direct cash transfers or direct benefit transfers over coming days.
You know, the thing is it helicopter money that you're referring to here? And what are the mechanics of doing that in a country as vast as India?
See, the mechanics of making sure the direct cash transfers are executed, that India has about close to 383 million Jan Dhan accounts, which we basically call as, which are basically no-frill accounts, which are generally maintained by the poorest of the country, which do not have a minimum balance requirement. So if you have a 383 million accounts, and if you're assuming transfer, say, per head about 4,000 rupees into the account, you're automatically giving a stimulus of 1.53 trillion rupees, which is about 0.7% of GDP. And that is likely to give an immediate boost, an immediate stimulus of sorts, and help to kind of, cushion any possible consumption and income shock that these people are witnessing already. So I think the easiest way to go about transferring income is basically Jan Dhan accounts.
All right. So huge amounts of money elsewhere being in stimulus. With the sort of economic profile that India has, the linkages sometimes are quite leaky, to put it diplomatically. How do you ensure the money gets to where it's needed?
To be fair, I will not completely disagree with you. Of course, we do have challenges in terms of getting our schemes executed properly and probably in timely fashion. But just to give you a context, the government of India on March 27th announced that they would be transferring a very minimal amount of 500 rupees to about 208 million female account holders and no-frill account holders of India. And since March till now, that is on yesterday, they have already transferred amount totaling to about 150 billion rupees. So at least 2 tranches of transfers have already happened over past 1.5 months. So I think because the data of these accounts is very easily available, it is across the board with all PSU banks, private banks, as well as rural regional banks, transferring money through this medium should not take much time and should be easy to execute, in my opinion.